Talk even before the game is played with our Wager Rewards program. How does it work? Simple. Earn wager rewards on every purchase made at Wager Talk and Sports Memo. Those wager rewards can be converted into wager bucks on the first of every month. There is no additional fee to participate, and no additional details are required outside your valid Wager Talk or Sports Memo membership. On the first of each month, 5% of your wager rewards will be converted to wager bucks, which are available to purchase on all future purchases. Doesn't it feel good to be part of a rewards program with no additional hoops?
What's up, guys? It is Thursday, October 13th. We are back for another episode of Stoppage Time. This week, previewing the Premier League matches. You might be wondering why my face is welcoming you into the show. I am Nick Borrman of WagerTalk.com. Carmine Bianco is out for today. He is busy in Vegas, sulking after cashing his big Circle Millions win, and then immediately placing that bet on the Toronto Maple Leafs to win. So he is questioning his life decisions in Vegas right now. Carmine, we miss you. I joke, of course. He has some internet issues going on. We'll be in the live chat today, so feel free to ask Carmine any questions as we go through the show. Got a good one for you guys today. But again, Premier League, we are looking at for the weekend. Let's bring in the guys for the show. With me, as always, we have Kevin Dolan, also of WagerTalk.com, and Pavlos Laguretos of Sports Memo. Boys, just the three of us today. No Carmine. We can talk all the smack we want on him, so that'll be a lot of fun. But how you guys doing? How'd your midweek slate go with the Champions League, and what do you have going on for this weekend coming up at Wager Talk?
I'll pass to Kevin first. He must have had a better weekend than me.
Well, we came on Tuesday's show, obviously. We went 7-1 over the weekend, so I was pumped for the midweek slate. I was all about it. Tuesday we had a push, and then last night we had a loss on Sporting Lisbon with 2 red cards against Marseille. Wasn't happy about that. So look, 7-2, we'll still take it, obviously, but looking forward to the domestic leagues this weekend, and ready to get into some games in today's show.
That's an awesome run for the Champions League, and I mean, we all love this competition more than anything. So it's definitely something we look forward to, and they're cramming those games in this year for sure with the World Cup coming. Pavlos, how about you? How was the midweek, and what do you have coming up for this weekend?
Well, I knew that it was going to be a crappy week, so I just stayed really low with my plays. Had a couple of threes, a couple of twos, a lot of props. The cards have been really kind to me lately. I seem to get the best out of the bookies when they're making these mistakes in the card lines. But I had some side bets yesterday. I had Tottenham -1. It was a push against a 10-man Frankfurt side. I had Sporting as well. I just want to get this over with. This bad week. I have several plays up for tonight in both slates in the Europa League. I have a 3-pack in the 12:45 p.m. Slate with a couple of both teams to score and over 2.5 goals. Don't care who wins. Then I have a couple of plays in the totals in the 3 p.m. Slate with again, we don't care who wins. It's a couple of totals. Then I have a play from the La Liga tomorrow, Friday, and a play for the La Liga on Sunday. And I'm going to be loading a lot more plays as data and lines are available to us.
Good stuff. Yeah, the Champions League. You were right. I was nervous about this week myself. I had done pretty well the first 3 weeks, won all 3 weeks, and then this was my first losing week. Piggybacked, of course, by Man City, taking them as my 5% play. So that was my first 5% loser. And, they had 2 chances early, one call back, and then a missed penalty, and then a red card came, and it was over. But we move on. It happens, and hopefully we can bounce back as we get into the weekend in the Premier League. So before we get into the games for today, I just want to mention the promo that we have going on right now, and that is you can get the rest of 2022 All Soccer, which does include the World Cup. We have that full month coming up here in actually just less than a month. It'll be starting. That promo code is Final50. So a 90-day soccer pass normally priced at $5.99. You can get it for just $2.99. So the 90 days will actually carry you into 2023 at this point, but definitely a good deal. You can head over to wagertalk.com or sportsmemo.com to check out that deal on any of our handicapper pages. This show, we already got 3 games on the slate, big games over in the Premier League. We're going to be looking at Tottenham, Everton on Saturday. We got United, Newcastle on Sunday. And, of course, we got the biggest game of them all, Liverpool, Man City, also on Sunday. So looking forward to breaking that one down with you guys. So as we get started, let's look at the Everton-Tottenham game to start. And I have some notes I'll throw out to you fellas here first. Really, this game, there's Tottenham. The worry for me going into this game, and I'll let you guys know if you disagree or not, is they had a pretty tough game this week against Frankfurt. They had to play pretty difficult or pretty hard to get that win, and I wonder how that's going to carry over into the weekend for them. You got to give the advantage just on a freshness standpoint to Everton. Not that a fresh Everton is all that good, but it does make you wonder, at least in the start of this game, if Tottenham might come out with a little bit of slow legs to start. But really, Everton, their identity this year has been their defense, and let's be honest, it's because they can't score goals. So they've allowed 9 goals on the year, which is actually tied for the fewest in the league, which is surprising to say. Their issue is, like I said, they just can't score. They've only scored 8. So their best chance to win these type of games is to just play tough, play tight, and hope a ball breaks their way and they get that one goal that can, as it has a lot this year, get them that 1 point with a lot of draws, or perhaps sneak in a win. So for that reason, they play to a lot of unders, 3-6 over-under record this year. They have 3 losses on the season, but none of them have come by more than 1 goal. Right now, the numbers for Spurs and for Everton on the Asian handicap is you're looking at Tottenham at minus 1 goal they're laying. And I like Everton getting that goal head start here just because I think it's going to be a slow start for Tottenham. And Everton just are not a team to give up a lot of goals, not a team to get blown out very often. And, right now the price on Tottenham just to win the game, you're looking at over minus 200 or up around minus 211 right now, while Everton at plus 572. So I think it's a good way to start this game is to grab Everton on the head start. I really expect them to come in here and win it? Not necessarily, but I do expect them to play tough, have a lot of energy, and perhaps keep this thing tight. Maybe sneak out with a draw. I think at worst case we're looking at a push, but I like Everton to hang tight here for this match. So let's bring in Pavlos next. Pavlos, what's your thoughts on this game? Do you think the layover from the Champions League this week will have any effect on Spurs or not?
Well, listen, we talk about Everton's characteristics this season, and we usually say that they have a good defense and a poor offense, but when you look at the XG numbers and the shots that Everton allow, they don't have that good a defense as I personally am making them. I think I've misread just a little bit about how good this defense is. Still, they don't concede a lot of goals, and as you said, Nick, they haven't been destroyed, especially on the road so far in the season. And also, a fun stat is the fact that they've scored in all 5. That includes, of course, an EFL Cup match. But they've scored in all 5 away matches so far in the season. Of course, these were matches against Southampton, Leeds, Brentford, and Aston Villa. They haven't really faced any, teams from the upper echelons of the Premier League. And this Tottenham side, they, for a Conte team, who Conte is usually a guy that likes to play good defense. I don't see that from this Tottenham side, and they have all kinds of ups and downs with their defense so far in the season. And I genuinely think that Everton could hurt them tonight, not tonight, on Saturday. And Everton, they've been missing key striker Calvert-Lewin for the entire season. He did get a couple of minutes in their last match. He's still not ready to pull out 90 minutes, so he's going to be eased back into the lineup. But again, it's seeing him play even for 15 minutes in their match against Manchester United was very promising for this side, who, again, they're lacking goal scoring, and I think they're going to be buyers in the January transfer window in order to fix that. So I think this is a match where Everton could hurt Tottenham's defense. So I like both teams to score at minus 105 here. I think that's a fair price. And judging by what we've seen so far, I wouldn't be surprised if it was a 1-1 draw or something. I think Everton could really pull up that defensive mechanism and just give Tottenham's offense a hard time here.
Yeah, you bring up their defense, Everton's defense, maybe not being as good as it seems on the surface just with goals allowed, because they do give up a lot of shots, Pavlos. Second most shots given up in the league right now, over 16 a game, but they are fourth best as far as expected goals per shot. So they're giving up a lot of volume, but the shot chances aren't that good, and I think that just attributes to them, packing a lot of guys behind the ball and really choking people out of their final third, and especially the penalty area. So it's a lot of volume, but it's not a lot of good chances there. And I do agree that I think they can give Spurs some trouble in this match. Kevin, let's go to you. Let's give you the final word on this. What do you think for this match on Saturday?
Similar vein of thought to Pavlos. I see goals in this one on Saturday. We kind of definitely saw some defensive lapses from Tottenham in the Champions League in midweek against Frankfurt, especially that first goal, Eric Dyer's mistake at the back. But, on the other end, we know this team can score. Look, Harry Kane almost made it 4 goals at the end with that penalty miss. And in terms of data, Tottenham ranked top 4 in the EPL this year in overall offensive scoring, top 5 on total XG, top 5 on shots on target per game. So I'm reasonably confident against a defense, as you guys mentioned, that it's better on the surface than the numbers suggest. So, like I said, I'm reasonably confident Spurs can get on the score sheet here, possibly multiple times. Especially considering they've scored at least 2 goals in 5 of the last 6 games at home overall, and they're averaging 3 goals per game across that run. So, I am expecting Tottenham to score, probably at least twice in this one, possibly more. And at the other end, while Everton have been lax on the road defensively, 5th worst XG in the league away from home this season. Since Frank Lampard's took charge, just 2 road wins from 13 games as well. So they need a better record than that. But they can score. They've scored at least 1 goal in 8 of the last 9 games overall. They've scored in all of their 4 Premier League road starts this year as well. So, like I said, I'm just going to keep it simple. I'm expecting goals in this one. I think this number does get to at least 3, possibly a 2-1 to Tottenham. Over 2.5 goals for me this weekend between Everton and Tottenham.
Listen, if Kevin has something negative to say about Frank Lampard, that's saying something, because there is no bigger fan of Big Frank on this planet than Kevin is. When Kevin speaks about Frank, you listen. I like the play, Kevin. You're right. There probably will be some goals. And the tired legs, like I think there'll be from Spurs. Usually you see that with lapses on the back, so I totally agree that Everton is likely to be on the board here and help push that total over. So quick recap here of our plays on the board. Will be coming on the screen here in a second, and we'll start to talk about as we move on to the next game. We are looking at on Sunday. This is Newcastle versus Man United. We have prices right now around even money, minus 102 or so. The draws at plus 280, Newcastle at plus 254. Pavlos, going to go to you first. Excuse me, Kevin, I'm going to go to you first. Come right back to you since you went last there before. What do you think's happening with this game? I mean, any effect for today's, right? It's Thursday morning. We haven't got to the Europa slates yet today. Of course, United play. Doubtful they play a lot of their big names for this match. It should be a rather straightforward win for them. Do you think there's any effect from today's lineups into this weekend, and what do you expect out of this game?
I don't see it, Nick, to be honest. It is an almost slam dunk type of affair against Nicosia. It'd be shocking if Nicosia got something from that game, especially with United playing at home as well. So, no, I don't think it'll carry over to this game. But I will say, look, from the outset, while I really like the over in the previous game we talked about between Everton and Tottenham, this is a lean at best, because I'm not fully behind United, although that's the way I'd lean in this one. So I'll put that from the outset. I'm a lot less excited about this play than the one before. But look, no doubt, Newcastle have been impressive to start the year. Manchester United have had the much tougher schedule over the last 6 games. That's often something I like to look at. Arsenal, Real Sociedad, Manchester City, and yet they still won the XG battle in 4 of those last 5 games. So they are creating plenty of chances, United, against quality teams as well. But it's just the one aspect that puts me off backing them in this game is Newcastle's road form this year. The Magpies are 3rd from bottom this year in overall defensive XG at home, yet they rank 5th best on the road this season, 4th on total shots on target as well. So Newcastle's kind of home road dichotomy has been, stark this year. And because of that, it's putting me off taking a side in this one. But, definitely if pushed and I had to play this one, I'd take United around even money in this spot, with that tougher strength of schedule we mentioned as well.
Yeah, I mean, United, they've been playing very well. We all talked about that. Sit Ronaldo, and all of a sudden you start playing a lot better. So it's definitely interesting to see. And now he's become the guy that's playing in the Europa League, and who knows what happens when we get to the English Cups, if he's going to be the star of the squad during those type of games. Pavlos, let's go to you next. What do you think for this match on Sunday?
I do see goals here, and I do see both teams getting on the score sheet for various reasons. Now, Manchester United's defense has been struggling. Yes, they keep sitting Maguire, but still they can't stop bleeding goals. Now, Newcastle, they scored 5 against Brentford last week and 4 against Fulham the week before, so they're coming in very, very hot. This newly reconstructed Newcastle side has been really, really good so far in the season. And keep in mind that in each of the last 3 seasons, Newcastle have produced both teams to score against Manchester United. And they did so with a team that was just horrible. I mean, if you look at players in that squad, they have like Manquillo, Longstaff, Fraser, Kraft. I mean, these are players who they don't really belong in the EPL. Maybe, I don't know, maybe at Fulham or whatever, teams like that. Not for Tottenham, but not for Newcastle. But this Newcastle side, even with that roster, they had a terrible roster in the last couple of seasons, maybe 3. They always managed to find at least at least one goal against Manchester United. And in fact, they have scored in 11 of their last 13 matches in Manchester when facing Manchester United, and in each of the last 5. But of course, they suffered some heavy losses there. Last season 4-1, the season before to that 3-1, then before that 4-1, 3-2, 4-1. So this is a trend that I'm willing to ride on. So again, I don't really see Manchester United having an easy job against Newcastle. Maybe they can win, but even if you consider backing, Manchester United, I think that's a fair price, -110. But Newcastle can really cause some problems here. So if you want to play the money line, I would pair it up with both teams to score. It will shoot up to +2 something. But I like both teams to score and over 2.5 goals at -102. Both sides have, not strong defensive lines. They keep conceding goals. They have good offensive lines. They keep producing goals. And again, this is the head-to-head in this particular situation. Just nudges me towards picking, both teams to score and over 2.5 goals at -102. I think that's a fair price. And, as usual, we don't care who wins.
Do not care who wins. Always love your tagline, Pavlos. I'll take the final word here. And, there's nothing I like more than disagreeing with my buddy Kevin. But, I'm not, it's not like I'm very, very strong in this game. But I do think Newcastle can get a point out of this match. I mean, believe it or not, they've actually played, we know they've played very well this year, but they've been underperforming their metrics this year as well. They only have 1 loss so far. That came against Liverpool. The other Big Six team they faced was that Man City 3-3 shootout thriller where they did lead by 2 goals at one point, or I think twice during that game. On the season, Newcastle, 4th best expected goal differential, +0.7 per game. One of just 4 teams in the league averaging over 2 expected goals per match. They average the 4th most shots per game, 15.9, 5th most shots on goal. And they've been tremendous on set pieces, actually. They lead the league with a .56 expected goal per match average on set pieces. United, meanwhile, they have just a +0.12 expected goal differential. A couple of early losses that are probably skewing that number a little bit. But offensive numbers much lower than Newcastle, and they're also allowing more shots per game, 15.1 compared to just 12.3 for Newcastle. Based on all of that data, Kevin and I always talk about expected goals, and Kevin always brings up expected points quite a bit. And right now, United's actually 1 point ahead of Newcastle in the table, but based on expected points, which is really just derived from expected goal data with quality, with measuring chances in the games. Newcastle's should be about 4 points ahead on expected points over United, which, again, doesn't mean anything. You got to put the ball in the net to actually get the points and be where you are on the table, but it just gives you an idea or an indicator of some of the quality of these sides. And Newcastle's actually 4 points ahead right now of United in that metric. So just something else I look at when I'm trying to really get the quality of the teams. This is going to be tight. I just don't see, I feel like one bounce of the ball somewhere in this game could decide it. And when I think it's going to be like that, I usually like to take the underdog because it's more chances that it ends up in a draw or a Newcastle win than I think United walk away with a win out of this game. So I'm going to go Newcastle plus a half a goal in this game. I want to bring back, we didn't get the graphic up to recap the last match that was Everton and Spurs. So I want to bring that up on the screen so you guys can take a look at that and get a reminder of where we were. So I had +1 on Everton. Pavlos, both teams to score as he likes to play, does not care who wins. Kevin also does not care who wins. Both those guys are expecting goals in that match. And as we move on to a quick recap for this Newcastle United match, I'm on the Newcastle side. Kevin directly against me on the Man United side. And Pavlos, again, without caring who's going to win, he also likes goals in this match. This time he's pairing both teams to score with the over 2.5 and getting that close to even money. So our quick recaps for the first two games, and let's get into the cream de crop this weekend, guys. Man City, Liverpool. This is it. This is the biggest match of the year. I mean, obviously the table is not where we would expect this to be. At this point of the season, we'd be expecting both of these teams, battling for that first place spot out of this match. But that is certainly not the case with Liverpool right now. But doesn't mean this game means any less to them. Klopp is going to be really excited to knock Man City off. And at the same time, Pep loves nothing better than to beat Liverpool. So this game means a lot to these teams, and it's going to be fun to watch. So let's get into it. Let's break it down. Pavlos, let's go to you first. I mean, what are you expecting from this game? What do you got for us? Are you going to see goals? Are you going to see who's going to score the goals? I mean, it's hard to pick a side, right? It seems like a right price based on the performances of this year. I wonder what kind of price we would have seen had Liverpool been, right up there with Man City at the top of the table. But Pavlos, what do you think is the way to play this one?
Well, about a couple of days ago, before Liverpool blasted Rangers by 7-1, and before that goalless draw in Copenhagen for Manchester City, I was looking towards City. The price wasn't really that great. I think the price is fluctuating on Manchester City money. I think it was -135 yesterday. Now it's -125, and it's moving up and down, and it's probably a reaction to what happened in the Champions League, because Manchester City. They didn't really need to win that match in Copenhagen. It was a very weird match with a disallowed goal, a missed penalty kick, then a red card. Then, it was just they were due for just a weird match. And then, of course, it was an early match in the Champions League. So we're just taking that result with a grain of salt. Now, what I didn't expect was Liverpool blasting Rangers by 7-1. And on Tuesday's show, I said that Liverpool are cruising for a bruising. I gave out Rangers +1.5. I couldn't be more wrong. I said Mo Salah is no Salah, and he scored a hat-trick in like 5 or 6 minutes. I couldn't be more wrong. But, we should be expecting bounce-back spots like this one for Liverpool. And now they're getting into this very important match with very, very much confidence. And my initial play for this match, again, was City Moneyline, but after I saw those 7 goals against Rangers, I just backed out. And I ended up picking both teams to score and over 2.5 goals for obvious reasons, because I don't care who wins. And here's some interesting facts and stats about this matchup. Now, each of the last 5 matches between the two sides had both teams to score and over 2.5 goals. Each of the last 5 had both teams to score is 9-1 in the last 10 matches, regardless of venue. Over 2.5 goals is 5-0 in the last 5 and 7-1 in the last 8. So there's a lot of 2-2 draws mixed in there, a lot of 4-1 wins, 3-2 wins, 3-1 correct scores. So I like both teams to score and over 2.5 goals -138. I also like the 2-2 draw correct score at +1200. I'm gonna be doubling into some correct scores in this match. I don't really have a big bet here. I like goals here. I see both teams getting on the score sheet. Both teams, Manchester City will want to prove themselves, so we're gonna want to wash off that goalless draw in Copenhagen. And Liverpool are, they want to keep it up. So I see a lot of goals here, and I'm gonna be throwing some beer money, in the of course 2-2 draw at plus 1200, and maybe some 3-2 for either side, something like that.
Yeah, I like that goal scoring or correct score prop, Pavlos, because that's seems like we're going to see some goals in this match. Because you said it, the history has proven, at least recently, that we have seen some high scoring affairs. And I'm not going to get into a lot of details on this because you broke it down pretty well. I am on the same bet as you, Pavlos. Both teams score and over 2.5 goals. If I'm picking a side, you make me pick a side, I'm probably going to go Liverpool just because I like the head start. And, as much as we have talked about the results, their data behind it, I think they've been pretty unlucky with a lot of things. They're still putting up solid offensive numbers, especially this year. They're averaging, 2.13 expected goals per game, third behind City and Arsenal. They average 17.5 shots, second to only City. So it's kind of what we expect them offensively. The defense is what is different this year. They have not been the same Liverpool side that we have come to see over the last couple of years. And, the matches against Newcastle and Bournemouth are the only two games that they kept teams under 1 expected goals. And obviously that's, that makes sense. Those two teams are not high offensive, high octane teams, but they've given up over 2 expected goals in 3 matches to United, Brighton, and Arsenal. And you just didn't see that from Liverpool much in the past, and it's a big reason here why I agree with you, Pavlos, and I think we're going to see goals. It's very unlikely that either team's going to get held off the score sheet. They're just too good offensively, and I think the defense for Liverpool could see, Man City score a couple themselves. So I think it's going to be similar to what you said, Pavlos. 2-2 seems like a very likely kind of finish score here, but both teams scoring over 2.5 goals is a great way to buy this total down. Otherwise, it's set at 3.25. So I love that prop play, Pavlos. Totally agreement with you. Kevin, let's go to you next to finish this one off. What do you have for us? Are you looking at a side in this game, or are you also sticking on the goals?
I'm going to look at the side as well, Nick. I agree with you. I'm not going to place any emphasis on what happened in midweek. Tongue-tied there for a little bit. But, because on Tuesday's show, I gave out the over 3.25 goals in the Rangers game. I always knew Rangers had to push. They got the opening goal. They had to push the envelope in that game, and Liverpool were going to destroy them because of that. They switched from that back 5 to a back 4. So they were, added defensively. And by the same token, I said, under 3.5 goals in the Man City game because, again, they just didn't care about that game. They didn't have to win that. So, likely, although, you would assume their B side could still show up and beat FC Copenhagen. But, yeah, I like Liverpool in this spot. I just think the price is too big. We're getting plus 110 right now on the plus half a goal head start here. And like I said, that's simply too high. City have been incredible this season, no question. When they show up, strongest team in Europe, in my opinion, by quite some margin. And as you said as well, Nick, bar the 7-1 victory in midweek over Rangers and the Bournemouth result, Liverpool have looked fairly poor this season overall. So nothing really to suggest they're on City's level ahead of this one. But, all that aside, we go back to this time last year. It was last October when these two sides last met at Anfield, and Liverpool were installed as plus 190. Slight home underdogs for that game. Ended up 2-2, actually. Pavlos' scoreline. This time we're seeing a plus 300 on the outright Liverpool win. So, again, I get the start both of these teams have made this season. The transfer window impact as well. Haaland comes in, Mane goes out. But 110 cents line move in 12 months, I just think that's simply way too much of an over-adjustment, in my opinion. And, even more than that, this is a standalone kickoff game in the evening over in Liverpool. Anfield will be absolutely pumping. There'll be an electric atmosphere from the fans that'll likely have an impact on the players' performance in this game as well. So, if you look at that, form, talent, XG, whatever other kind of statistical data, which, I'm a big fan of, you like to look at, everything is pretty much in City's favour ahead of this clash on Sunday. But I think it's a game where the intangibles come into play, and I'm expecting Liverpool, it's the Alamo for Liverpool, isn't it? They're getting destroyed in the league race, and they have to make a stand here. So I am expecting them to kind of deliver their best effort here on Sunday at home. against their main title rivals over the last few seasons in Man City. So, yeah, give me Liverpool plus a half a goal at plus 110. I think that's a big price. So, yeah, I really like that play.
Kevin, love it. I got to give it to you. You've talked about, price, call it fluctuations, if you will, in similar matchups, in recent times, quite a bit recently. I forget the matches. I know Barcelona was a match you brought this up before, but you're right. I mean, is the price change from the last time these teams met justified? And, on the surface level, if you don't look in anything, maybe, right? Maybe just based on purely that, but we know there's more. Soccer is probably the biggest sport in the world, that the surface does not really dictate or tell you the true story of what happened on the field. So I love the fact that you look at the past prices, and it's something we should definitely be looking at and talking about often, because it does make sense, and it's like it does really talk about the value of sides. So I love that angle, Kevin, and I agree with you. I think Liverpool will get a result out of this game. So quick recap here for our plays for this matchup. Pavlos and I both expecting goals. We're just basically buying down the total from 3.25 in this one to both teams to score an over 2.5. Of course, if we get a 4-0 win either way, that would have cashed the 3.25, but it will not cash this ticket. But highly unlikely we see that. And Kevin, on the Liverpool side, to keep this thing close, plus a half a goal, and you're getting a small plus price on that right now. All right, let's move on to our best bet segment for the show. We'll do a quick round robin of our best bets coming up for this weekend. I will start first. I will mention the MLS playoffs are here. They begin this Saturday. I do have a promo going on right now where you can get the full playoff slate, which is about 3.5 weeks, for just $69. No promo code needed. There's just a widget on my page at wagertalk.com. Just head over there to check that out. Had a great MLS season, netted 46% bankroll gain, 4th straight winning MLS season at WagerTalk. So hopefully we can carry that into the playoffs. And I do already have a 5% play loaded for the first round. I only released 4 5% plays all year in the MLS, 3-1 on those. So hopefully we can find one more winner for that. And I'm going to give you a best bet for the MLS, and this is a futures bet, and it's going to be on Montreal to win the MLS Cup plus 900. Now, LAFC and Philly are the 2 number 1 seeds, but their prices as far as the futures market aren't really bettable. I mean, plus 200, plus 300 aren't something I'm excited about to get behind and trying to bet them in the futures. But Montreal, I think, presents some pretty good value here. They're the fourth best expected goal differential in the league, plus 0.55. Their defense is fantastic. They allow the second fewest shots per game, under 10 per match. They're coming in terrific form, right? Playoffs, we know it's all about getting hot at the right time in any sport. But over the last 15 matches, they have just 1 loss, 11 wins, 3 draws. They kept 6 clean sheets during that run. Besides just how they've been playing, one thing you got to look at when you're talking about any sort of futures bet is, the possible path to the MLS Cup. And it's very favorable. Obviously, you expect the Eastern Conference to go through Philadelphia, but Montreal hosts an out-of-form Orlando side in the first round, who lost 4 of their last 6 games coming in, and also lost 1-4 at Montreal earlier this year. From there, most likely, they host New York City FC, who've been a completely different team since the departure of Castellanos to Girona over in Spain. He was the Golden Boot winner from last year. He led the MLS again this year, 13 goals, until he departed in July. After he left, they had 1 win in their next 10 games, although they did pull it together at the end and win 3 straight games to end the season to solidify their 3rd seed in the East. But from there, now you're getting in the East Conference Finals, and you're probably facing Philly. At that point, we're holding a plus 900 ticket on them. There's only 4 teams left. We probably, if we don't like our position, have a decent chance to hedge. And, that's kind of why I'm recommending taking Montreal. I think they can reach the Eastern Conference semis, and then, I'll relook at it. We'll see what it looks like at that point and how they've looked, and same with Philly, as I expect them to be there. So Kevin's not a gardener, but sometimes I am when it comes to these MLS any future. So we'll see where we are come that point. So that's my best bet for the show, is a future on MLS Cup, and that's Montreal to win that one. Let's go to Pavlos next for his best bet of the week. Pavlos, what are you looking at?
I'm looking at the Bundesliga in a match between Bayern Munich and Freiburg. Now, each of the last 6 matches between the 2 sides in the last 3 seasons produced both teams to score and over 2.5 goals combo. Each of the last 8 and 11 of the last 13 matches between the two sides had both teams to score. 11 of the last 13 matches had over 2.5 goals. Now, Bayern Munich, they've kept clean sheets in 7 of 14 matches, but let's dissect a little bit and see who did they keep clean sheets against. They kept a clean sheet against Plzen in the Champions League, who are a lowly team, but did score twice against Bayern Munich yesterday in the reverse fixture. Before that, the clean sheet was against Leverkusen, who are just horrible so far in the season. Then there was a couple of clean sheets in the Champions League against Barcelona and Inter Milan. Yes, two very good teams, but the Champions League is a totally different beast. Then they had a clean sheet against a regional side in the Cup. Just take that result with a grain of salt. And then they had clean sheets against Bochum, who are the worst team in the Bundesliga, even worse than Leverkusen, and Wolfsburg, who are just cursed in the last couple of seasons and one of the league's worst offensive lines. So any team with a decent offense has scored against them in the Bundesliga. Now, Freiburg, they've kept 5 clean sheets in 9 matches, but those clean sheets came against Augsburg, Stuttgart, Bochum, Gladbach, and Hoffenheim. I'm keeping Gladbach and Hoffenheim outside because they have good offensive lines, but the nature and the DNA of these two sides is very specific. They get stuck against closed defenses, and Freiburg can play good defense, but only against the teams like that, like Hoffenheim and Gladbach. They can't really play good defense against Bayern Munich because Bayern Munich, they can drop 3, 4, 5 goals on anybody. Now, Augsburg, Stuttgart, and Bochum are 3 of the league's worst offensive teams, both in terms of goals scored and in XG created. So, again, judging by what we've seen between the two sides over the years, Freiburg have stood their own against Bayern Munich. So I expect them to find at least 1 goal here. So I like the combination of both teams to score and over 2.5 goals, minus 110. Don't care who wins.
The tagline of the year from Pavlos, Laguretos, and always the theme of this show has certainly been goals from you, Pavlos. So good luck to you in Germany. Kevin, let's go to you next to finish this off for today. What is your best bet coming up this weekend?
Yeah, I'm going to focus on the English Championship this weekend for my best bet, Nick. Look, not a sexy league, not a sexy game, but I don't care if it gets you to the window. And I'm going to take Middlesbrough to beat Blackburn at home on Saturday. It's around minus 102 right now. We talked briefly, actually, about the home kind of road dichotomy earlier in the Manchester United Newcastle game. And it's even more stark here. Middlesbrough have amassed 92% of all their points on the season at home this year, while Blackburn have scored just 1 goal from the last 6 road games overall. Never mind winning, they're struggling to even find the back of the net away from home. So, initially you're going to look at the table in the Championship. You're going to see Blackburn in 7th position in the league. You're going to see Middlesbrough without a full-time manager in 21st. They're just 1 place above relegation. As favourites, you're probably going to be saying this is a crazy line. What is that crazy Irish guy talking about? But there's a reason for this pricing. It's that Middlesbrough are really strong at home. So I'm expecting this to continue. I'm expecting Middlesbrough to pick up all 3 points here on Saturday, against Blackburn. So, yeah, give me Middlesbrough this weekend down in the English Championship to win outright against Blackburn. Best bet.
May not be a sexy league, Kevin, but to prove how crazy the English football fans are, the English Championship is the 2nd most watched soccer league in the world behind only the Premier League. It's ahead of the Bundesliga. It's ahead of Serie A. It's ahead of La Liga. It's ahead of everything. So that just proves right there. It may not be a sexy league to some people, but it matters and it means a lot. And there's a lot of money in that league. So Middlesbrough, good play there from Kevin. We had a viewer actually suggest that we throw a recap graphic up of our best bets. We've been doing that for our show leans throughout, but we had not had one for the best bet. So we do have that available for today, and it's just a good point for anybody watching the show. Anytime you have suggestions for us, shoot us a message. We definitely listen. We definitely like to hear feedback from you so we can keep improving and making changes as we move forward. But best bets for the show, I'm on Montreal to win the MLS Cup, a futures bet there, possible hedge opportunities later. Pavlos, of course, on the goals this week. He's looking at Bayern and Freiburg, both teams to score, and over 2.5 in the German Bundesliga. And Kevin in the English Championship, Middlesbrough, money line, minus 102. Good price there as well. Good luck to you guys on your best bets. I want to thank everybody for joining us this week. A reminder of promo code we have for you guys is Final50. You get the rest of 2022 and actually into 2023 now. You get a 90-day soccer pass for just $2.99, normally priced at $5.99. So Final50, that's 50% off is why we use that code. Final50 will get you that package. Definitely a good deal. We have a lot of action, including the World Cup, coming up over the rest of this year. I want to thank everybody again for tuning in this week. Make sure to hit that like button. Kevin gets paid on likes, so we need to help him out on that. Like. And we will be back next week. We have no Champions League next week, but we do have Premier League midweek action, so we'll be previewing those games when we return on Tuesday. On behalf of WagerTalk.com, SportsMemo.com, Pavlos Laguretos, Kevin Dolan, and the MIA Carmine Bianco. Hopefully that Toronto Maple Leafs ticket, Carmine, will prove a winner for you. If not, I know Prez will recoup your losses. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. We will see you next week.
You're a winner at Wager Talk even before the game is played with our Wager Rewards program. How does it work? Simple. Earn wager rewards on every purchase made at Wager Talk and Sports Memo. Those wager rewards can be converted into wager bucks on the first of every month. There is no additional fee to participate, and no additional details are required outside your valid Wager Talk or Sports Memo membership. On the first of each month, 5% of your wager rewards will be converted to wager bucks, which are available to purchase on all future purchases. Doesn't it feel good to be part of a rewards program with no additional hoops?